Cada día sale el sol, nuevas esperanzas son. Dios habla a tu corazón, sanándote, alimentando tu vida con bálsamo de vida, con bálsamo de vida, bálsamo de vida.
Bálsamo de vida con Rosmery y Reid.
Ephesians 6:12 says, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." We all know that there are many times when we face situations where we should remember that the struggle is not against flesh and blood, but reality shows us otherwise. We can see how sometimes after having learned this word, we easily forget it in moments where we are overcome by fear, anxiety, or when we find ourselves in situations of conflict. In these cases, we do the exact opposite of what God commands us in His Word. So today we will be reflecting under the title, Spiritual Armor. In our minds, there is a constant battle, so it's important that we take refuge in prayer and reading the Word, two powerful weapons that work to tear down the strongholds of lies that the enemy wants to orchestrate against us. Ephesians 6:10-17 tells us about the armor of God for us. In verse 10, he says, "Finally, be strong in the Lord and in His mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand." This chapter lists 6 key pieces to keep in mind, and I want to emphasize one mentioned in verse 14, which is the breastplate of righteousness. Now, the breastplate is a chest piece made of steel, a special armor that covers a soldier's chest and back, and it protects warriors from enemies' darts that strike their heart directly and from surprising them with attacks to the back. So when the Apostle Paul speaks of the armor of God, he commands us to put on the breastplate of righteousness. And to put on the breastplate of righteousness as part of the armor of God is to guard our hearts, protecting them from all contamination, sadness, depression, strife, from disputes and arguments that nothing and no one can harm them. So if you feel today that you are carrying a heavy cross or burden due to a work situation, family problems, conflicts within your ministry, or whatever it may be, the Word of God commands you today to put on the armor of God and the breastplate of righteousness. The Lord commands us today to guard our hearts and not allow the enemy to play tricks on our mind, making us believe things that do not come from God. So let's put on our spiritual armor today. This is your sister Vanessa Ortiz, and may God bless you.
Gracias por estar ahí, escuchando Bálsamo de Vida. Si estas palabras han edificado tu vida, escríbenos a balsamodevidareflexiones@gmail.com y síguenos en nuestras redes sociales. Reflexiones Bálsamo de Vida. Que su gracia te cubra en este día.